Let's learn how to enter date type of information in Excel. We have already entered basic information about our books in our bookstore, and now I want to note down when this information was recorded. So let's assume today is August 15th, 2013. I want to type it somewhere and record that today is August 15th, 2013, and that's when this information was noted. And I'm going to choose cell A7 to enter that date. We want Excel to store this as a date so that we can later create some date formulas, do some calculations. But if we store it as a text format, then we will not be able to do those calculations. So let's get started with typing date information. When I type 8/15/2013, Excel understands this as a date value, and it applies the date number format to display the date, and it also stores it in as a date. This might be depending on the regional settings of Excel and also the date time settings that you have in your computer. What I have is a United States version of Excel, and it recognizes the month slash date slash year format of writing dates. Let's say, for example, if I type in 15/8/2013, Excel actually doesn't recognize this as a date. It leaves it as general number format. It stores it this way, but it's actually not really a date. It's text value to it. In my Excel installation, again, in this region, when you enter dates using just numbers and not, for example, instead of saying August as AUG, I'm just using 8 to represent August. So whenever I enter dates using just numbers, Excel is expecting the month to come first and then date. And since I entered 15, and there can only be 12 months in a year, so Excel thinks I'm entering text information and not a date. So it aligns the cell to the left edge, as you can see here, and Excel aligns text values to the left and numbers are aligned to the right. So Excel is treating this as a text value. Dates will be aligned to the right. So Excel comes in different flavors in countries and regions, and your version may already have default date formats that are according to your regional settings. So it should allow you to enter in your most common way of entering dates. It may also depend on your computer's date and time settings. Now let me type 8/15/2013, and you can see that Excel is able to understand this too, and it stores this as a date, and it displays it as a default date number format, and that's why I see the slash even though I typed in hyphen. Basically what's happening is Excel, when I entered 8/15/2013, Excel recognized that as a date, and then it's storing that as a date value, and it applies a default number format, date number format to display, and that is the display in slash. And as we have learned before, the number format is just to change how values are displayed in the spreadsheet. So this is the default date number format, which shows in month slash date slash year, but we can easily change that, and we will learn how to do that very quickly now. But before we do that, it's important to understand that Excel can understand and recognize different date entries. And we did 8/15/2013. We also did 8-15-2013. So Excel can detect multiple things as dates. Excel also will not detect some of the things. Let me give you a few examples. August 15 space 2013. So Excel does not recognize this as a date. It just thinks it's a text value. Let me try August.15.2013. Excel doesn't recognize that either. August space 15 comma without a space, 2013, Excel thinks that's also a text value. You can see that clearly because Excel is aligning these cells to the left instead of the right. So it is thinking this is text value. So Excel recognizes few formats. Excel doesn't recognize few formats. So let me type, for example, 815, 8/15 and hit enter. And what happens is Excel actually recognizes that as a date, and it actually applies 2013 as the year because that's the current year. So even though I only entered day and the month, Excel adds the current year and then stores that as a date. And similarly, we can try, for example, let's say 8-15 Excel. Excel stores that as a date and then it adds actually the current year as the year component of the date. I can also type, for example, August space 15, and Excel is able to detect that as a date as well. And in addition to just entering month and the date, there are also other ways. 15/August AUG/2013, Excel knows that as a date as well. The key point there is there are many different ways that by which we can enter dates, but there are also some ways that Excel may not be able to detect dates. So please pay attention to how you enter the data in date format so that it can recognize. The recommendation from me is that if you're going to type date information, please use one consistent method of entering the dates. Whichever of the accepted and proper ways of entering dates, please choose one and then use it consistently. And that would help you to be faster in data entry. And also, you're going to be accurate and you don't have to worry about whether I entered in the right format or not. Another thing to keep in mind is that in some cases, we would actually want Excel to treat that as a text. For example, if I'm typing in 8/15, and if I want Excel to just treat that as 8/15 and not as a date as it would do here, my recommendations would be before you enter that, change that into a text format and then type in 8/15, and Excel will treat that as a text value. It will not convert that into a date. So let me undo that and bring back 15/August/2013. So this is a valid date format. And let's understand a little bit more about the date number formats. When I type this information, Excel automatically puts this in a custom number format. So let's see what that is about. Control 1, which would open the Format Cells dialog box. And you can see that in this cell, Excel automatically applied the custom number format. Custom number formats are nothing but customized and slightly different number formats than the ones that we have so far covered. And you can see here that there are some custom number formats for numbers, and then there are some custom number formats for currencies, percentages, and we also have a few custom number formats related to dates. One of those has been selected by Excel to display this information. So these custom formats are pre-built in Excel, and you can also create your own custom formats, but that is outside the scope of this lesson. But you should be aware that you can also create your own custom formats to control how you would like the information to be displayed. Just because Excel selected a custom format automatically for the cell that we enter the data, it doesn't mean that we cannot change it. So we can go and apply a different date number format, let's say, and that would give you a preview. So if I apply this, it's going to look like this, which is different from what it formatted originally, which is perfectly fine. You have full control over how you want to display the date. And let's understand more about that. So now I'm back in cell A7, and if I go to this drop down here, I can see that there are two specific date formats which are readily available in this drop down. So I can choose short date or long date, and you can see the preview. The first one is just the default. and then the other version, the long date, and I can choose that one as well. Now let's move on to understand how Excel handles dates. Dates are very commonly used data types in Excel. However, Excel stores dates as numbers. If I change the number format for this cell from date to general, and you would see that I see a number 41501. This is a number and it actually represents the number of days beginning from January 1st, 1900. And we can test this very easily. Let me, for example, type 1 and hit enter. And then I want to change this to a date format. You can see here it is January 1st, 1900. This is the date when Excel's calendar begins. If you press 2, for example, and hit enter, it'll be January 2nd, 1900. This basic concept of storing the dates as numbers actually allows us to do a lot of calculations on dates very easily. For example, if I want to calculate the number of days between two dates, let's say January 2nd, 2013 and March 25th, 2014. If I want to calculate the number of days between those two dates, it just is easier if we store them as numbers, and that's what Excel does. Since Excel's calendar begins in 1900, if you enter a negative number or if you enter a really large number, Excel cannot detect that. It will not display the right information. There are some workarounds for dates before 1900, but that is